Petit made an instant impact in the Arsenal team, his partnership with Vieira helping Arsenal to win the league and cup double. During the campaign, Petit made 44 appearances, scoring twice, and in the summer the midfielder capped off a brilliant year by scoring in the World Cup final. With his long blonde locks and wonderful left foot and range of passing, Petit firmly established himself as a world-class talent. He continued to impress over the next 2 seasons, with his performances helping Arsenal to finishing second twice in a row. At the end of the 99-2000 season, Petit was sold to Barcelona alongside teammate Marc Overmars. He finished his Arsenal career with 118 appearances and 11 goals. During the 90s, Arsenal won 2 league titles, 2 FA Cups, a League Cup and the Cup Winners' Cup, including a domestic cup double in 93 and a League and FA Cup double in 98. They also finished runners-up in the Cup Winners' Cup and the League during this decade. The club's 2 most successful modern-day managers both oversaw the success, with George Graham reigning in the early part of the decade, and in the latter part of the decade it was Arsene Wenger. Wenger completely revolutionised the style of play and turned the Arsenal into one of the most attractive teams in Europe. So let's take a look at some of the top guns from the decade. Here's my top 5 midfielders from the 90s. At number 5 is Stefan Schwarz. The Swede signed for the Gunners in the summer of 94 from Benfica. He played for Arsenal for just 1 season, the 94-95 campaign, and it was a real topsy-turvy season. The club's most successful manager to date, George Graham, was sacked in February 95 in controversial circumstances, and it was Arsenal's poorest season in the league of the decade, finishing 12th. However, it was in the Cup Winners' Cup where the player shone bright. The technical midfielder put in a string of great performances, helping Arsenal to a second successive final. Schwarz scored 2 goals in the competition in the opening round, and more importantly in the second leg of the semi-final against Sampdoria, an 88-minute free kick, levelling the scores on aggregate. The Gunners went on to win the tie on penalties and progressed through to the final, but unfortunately they were unable to retain the trophy. Schwarz made 47 appearances during the season, scoring 4 goals, and it was sad to see him leave at the end of the season. David Rocky Rocastle is number 4, although if this had been the 80s, he would be my number 1. He burst onto the scene during the mid-80s, helping Arsenal to a League Cup win in 87 and a league title in 89. He also won the Barclays Young Eagle Award twice and was named in 2 of the decade's PFA Teams of the Year. In the 1991 season, Rocastle again helped Arsenal to the league title despite suffering from a knee injury. He made 17 appearances and scored 2 goals. The following season, he was back to peak form and fitness, making 48 appearances and grabbing 4 goals. Unfortunately, it was to be his last season for the club, and he moved on to Leeds United. In March 2001, aged just 33, David Rocky Rocastle sadly passed away after being diagnosed with a terminal illness in the previous year. Rocky will always be in the hearts of all Gooners and will be fondly remembered by all that knew him. As well as being described as a true gentleman by those that were closest to him, he was a real inspiration on and off the pitch and a phenomenal football player. Arsene Wenger, who joined 4 years after Rocky had left the club, described Rocastle as a modern-day footballer. During his time at Arsenal, Rocky made 228 appearances and scored 34 goals. Another player that did most of his good work during the 80s but also impacted on the early 90s is Paul Davis, who comes in at number 3. An elegant footballer with great passing abilities but also not afraid to get stuck in, Davis was the complete midfielder. During the 80s, Paul Davis had already made a real name for himself as a good footballer but also as a hard man, as his performances helped Arsenal to the 87 League Cup. But he missed much of the 89 title season due to a 9-match ban for punching an opponent and breaking his jaw. In the 89-90 season, Davis didn't feature much through injury and differences with the manager, but he was back in the fold in 1991 and had a wonderful season, the main man in the middle, helping Arsenal to a league title and losing just one game all season. He made 48 appearances in 91, scoring 3 goals. Over the next couple of years, he didn't feature much due to injury, but he did return in time to help Arsenal to a domestic cup double in 93. And Paul Davis featured 34 times in 94, winning the Cup Winners' Cup at the end of it. It was to be his last trophy for the Gunners, and he moved on a free transfer thereafter. His Arsenal career saw him make 447 appearances, bagging 37 goals, and his presence in the heart of the Arsenal midfield was missed over the next couple of seasons. But in August of 1996, his successor emerged in the shape of a tall, languid Frenchman. 20-year-old Patrick Vieira was one of Arsene Wenger's first signings for the club, even before he had taken full charge, and Vieira proved to be perhaps his most crucial signing of his entire career. Vieira impressed from the get-go as he made his debut coming on as a substitute against Sheffield Wednesday. He continued putting in great performances as a combative but elegant box-to-box midfielder and helped Arsenal to finish 3rd in the league, narrowly missing out on Champions League qualification. The following season it got better as he was joined by compatriot Emmanuel Petit, who was signed in July 97 from Monaco, and Emmanuel Petit comes in at number 2. The duo formed a formidable partnership in the Arsenal midfield, perfectly complementing each other. Probably the best central midfield pairing we've seen in the Premier League. They helped Arsenal to the league and cup double in 98. And it got even better for the pair during the summer as they helped France win the World Cup, with both players playing a starring role in the final. Vieira continued running the Arsenal midfield as the Gunners narrowly missed out on a second successive double the following season, losing out on the title in the final day of the season to Man United by just 1 point. The year after, Vieira helped Arsenal to finishing 2nd in the league again and also a UEFA Cup final. Patrick Vieira is number 1. So that's my top 5 midfielders from the 90s. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments down below your top 5. Thanks for watching this video, and please do subscribe, like and share this video. Also follow us on Twitter too. Remember to keep safe during this global pandemic and stay gooned.